When did you say Ken was going to be?
About 9.
About 9,
Yeah.
okay, not really.
And I have some papers from Jack. But I don't know if he wants you to have them now when he gets here. I don't know, so I'm just gonna
Oh.
give them to you, and
Okay,
if it's too soon,
okay.
you can give them back to me next price when I give them to you the second time.
Okay, public forum, anyone here for that?
I'm Rebecca Thill. I'm a child care provider in Linden, and I'm kind of here to request CARES money for all of the child care providers that are in the county. Without child care, nobody can go to work, and it's been a difficult situation for all child cares across the country. Me personally, I had to close down for some time because of a COVID case in our care. But extra expenses incurred trying to control the virus and keep it from spreading. And I spoke with Garrett Nordstrom,
Okay,
and he's, I think, gonna present this proposal. But I'm also working with Reba Waiwatis, who's the Director of Child Care Aware in Topeka, and she's the resource and referral for child care in eastern Kansas.
okay,
And she set up the funding in Shawnee County, so she's kind of aware of how all this works. And she has been in contact with Garrett too, Nordstrom. And I don't know if you want to see this paperwork, but she has paperwork here on why child care is important, and then the proposal that she sent to Garrett
okay,
for funds. And we know that it's late in the game, and we know that it has to be done by a certain date. And so in Shawnee County, when they gave it to their providers, they turned in receipts for expenses that they incurred. But we know there's not enough time to get that out there for the providers to do that back in our county. But anyway, that's in the proposal of how she thinks that it should be distributed. So
how many child care providers do
there's
you,
34 in the county. One of them is a center in Carbondale. And I don't know, Reva is finding out how many kids are cared for in that center. So the average amount of people kids that can be in a center or in a home is 10 to 14.
right,
And so we don't know if that center has double that amount, because if they have double that amount, then they have double expenses. But she's trying to find that out, I think, and get that information to Mr. Nordstrom.
okay,
But anyway, there are 33 home providers.
homebound one, okay,
And then Reva also said that she was willing to get, go to KDHE and get the names and addresses, because they have to be released through KDHE, of all the providers, so that the checks, if there is checks, could be mailed to them. And also to find out that they're in good standing with the state.
that, yeah, right,
You know, that their license not suspended, or that they have any charges against them or anything. So I think, you know, it'd be a good thing for the county commissioners to do, if they have funds that are left over in the CARES Act. And I'm sure all the providers would appreciate it. None of them know I'm here. I'm just doing it on my own. I could have just maybe applied for myself, but
could you make us a copy of that,
So would you like me to make copies of those?
your information there?
so this is kind of just general information she sent so that they know where she's coming from, and then this is the proposal. Thank you. And I probably won't be able to wait till 10 o'clock to when he comes, because
Okay,
I have kids I gotta get home to. And sir, I don't
Yes.
know what kind of funds you have left that you need to disperse or where they're gonna go or anything, but, just because I have friends in Sedgwick County and Shawnee County, I know their grants were in the amount, because they had a 2-tier grant because they had enough time, but total about $3,500. And so I'm assuming you don't have that much money left, but just, as a ballpark figure, they got 1,500 and then they got another 1,500.
I would think it would be appropriate to submit them to the committee and have them look over them individually, like we've done with the other small businesses, Because not everybody's gonna have the same expenses and stuff, so, but
Do you feel like we have enough time for the providers to?
I think so.
Got a week.
I know,
With Christmas, yeah.
I know, but
How many kids do you have? 14.
anyone else for public forum?
Yeah. Gene Hurd, I want to reemphasize what the lady that just said here, Greg's wife, the daycare center. Greg got a hold of me here a while back, and I did some checking from around the state and other places that are getting money. They're getting money for CARES Act money. And so I hope and pray that the commissioners and Mr. the CARES Act gentleman will take this into consideration. You know, they've been hit hard. Now, see, she had one that had the virus. Thank God, though, that child's getting through okay. So they need the funds. If there ain't anything more, I would think that would be an important entity to make sure that you do something for this county, for those agencies that do this for the kids. Okay, and another matter is that what I see in the townships right now, to me, is wrong. And like I said, you know, maybe the ones that are in office right now that ain't gonna do anything by the end of the year, I know the new one's coming, and I hope they will, because something has to be done. I mean, the roads are terrible. Some of them don't have enough money, and I know what they have their own funds, but I think what Jay brought up here recently was, and I think it's still a good idea, that if we have any CARES money at all left, that we should buy the rock and let those townships be able to have an advantage of getting that rock to some of the places that really need it, that's not getting it right now, because man, there are some people out there suffering through some of these roads in this county. That's all I have today.
Anyone else?
Yes. Steve Creaky, of Creaky Construction. You guys, had your bid letting last week on the
Yes.
Game Road project. I was second bidder. I think it beat like a little over 1%. I didn't know if you guys, I kinda wanted to get with you and see if you guys would try to keep the job. You know, in-county contractor, and I understand, you know, if you can't or whatever, there is, I've talked to some other counties. I know Miami County, and, it's like a 1%, I think they'll let their in-county contractors have. Lyon County's will go up to like 3%. So, I know you guys got a lot on your plate. There is one way that I may be able to save a little money on the project. I can't speak for the other contractors or whatever, but there is a bid item on there for, they call it temporary surfacing, or just aggregate surfacing. If you build the project half at a time, like I need to try to build half, south half, keep the landowners in and out on the north end, get that finished and rocked, so they can at least drive on the rock. On the south half, after I finish it, and I'd work the north half, and it would probably save you probably the difference in the cost of the job, so. I just wanted to throw that out there to you. I know we're working on a job, we're driving 80 miles one way to the job now. I'd like to have it in the county. And I understand whatever your decision is. So, I just wanted to throw that out there to you and let you know. Kind of do appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Steve.
Do you have anything in your pile? Should say on your desk instead of your pile.
It's pile. Melinda's getting those checks cut for the CARES Act. There's just 3, so
Okay,
as soon as she has them finished, we'll have them for you.
okay.
Thank you.
I have a question for the lady that talked about the CARES Act money. This sheet that you provided, the first sentence there in that last paragraph said, grants will be made directly to licensed family child care and child care centers. Where will those grants come from?
From the CARES Act money.
Is that, you're talking about the money that you're requesting?
Yes,
Okay, very good. I thought perhaps it was a different grant.
oh, no.
Okay.
They refer to it as grants because they don't have to pay it back.
I understand.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, do you have anything, Pat, that you're going to need to discuss later on?
No.
Okay.
Nothing urgent, no.
Okay. Well, that road project is not gonna be awarded for a little bit till we find out exactly how we're going to fund it.
Okay.
There was some, this thing was brought about because of the watershed project right beside it.
Okay.
That's going
Yeah.
to happen, and we thought maybe they would work together, you know. And part of it they are, that
Yeah.
the watershed has taken care of some of the easements
Okay.
because of, you know, so.
I know it come in under engineer's estimate. You know,
Well, right, but-
20% or so, but
but
yeah, I understand you still gotta get.
we-
funding for it.
We didn't have that project in the budget for this year, so,
Okay. Yeah, I understand.
and so. There are some different funding options available, and we're waiting for our financial auditor and stuff to come back with and say, here's what we can do.
Okay, all right. That sounds good.
So,
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean,
yeah, so.
So how's your doggy doing?
If she'd sleep, she'd be really good.
What cross did you say she
A
was?
Lhasa Apso and a poodle,
Oh, yeah.
and she's like just the tiniest thing, weighs probably about 3 pounds. And I forget that because our old private dog
Yeah.
was like 14 pounds. We took pictures with her puppy.
I'll throw her over your head.
She's not very big. So I don't know.
Yeah.
She wasn't sleeping very well, and he looked at me and said, "What were we thinking? Moving into a new house and getting a puppy?"
Yeah,
I said,
that
"What were we
was,
thinking?"
yeah, you didn't think that through very good, did you? Oh, this too shall pass,
Yeah.
Rhonda. Jack?
Morning. How are you?
Good.
Rhonda, did you find the pamphlets I dropped off last week?
Yes, and I went ahead and gave them to him. Is that okay?
Perfect, yeah,
Okay.
thank you. I meant to have those done, hopefully for the elections, or didn't. Came in last minute.
I'm not sure she could have passed Delton's dress code.
No, she would not have passed.
I think about that whenever I see anybody dressed like that. Well, underwear is outerwear.
I don't think I'll ever forget that. And I quote that one. The girls will say, "Can we wear jeans tomorrow or something?" I'll go, "Yes, just no underwear."
Ken's supposed to be here in a few minutes, so he had an appointment of some kind, so if you don't mind waiting,
I do not, thank you.
okay. Pretty close. Mr. Hobbs is here to discuss that, so you might want to look it over a little first.
I'd like to have a executive session after Jack and before Glenn, if we have
Okay,
10 minutes in there.
okay,
Attorney-client matter.
okay. Mr. Hobbs, come on up.
Ready to just hit the ground running, huh?
Okay, yeah.
So I wanted to lay everything out, in writing for you folks.
Okay.
Which were basically the reasons for the request for salary increases for the office. So that is the packet that I dropped off. I also attached to the packet were a couple of, recent job postings for the Topeka, Kansas area. Kind of show what starting salary was for legal assistants in that market, which is really this market, Topeka and Osage County. So I put it all out in writing. I was hoping that if you guys had any questions, I could make myself available to answer any of those questions and kind of go from there.
What training requirements or certifications do legal assistants need?
So they don't necessarily need any certifications to be a legal assistant, but it does take a considerable amount of training, and most of that is on-the-job training. And that is one of the reasons why experienced legal assistants are something that lawyers covet and want to keep a hold of. And I can tell you that we have two very seasoned legal assistants in our office now
Okay,
that have had that office running smooth for years, including with my predecessor. And that is the main reason for the request for the increases, is to keep those two seasoned legal assistants. We have another legal assistant who is new. She had no experience. I don't know if you guys recall when we had to hire that legal assistant. And for the money that we were able to offer, that I was given to spend on a legal assistant, we had to hire one with absolutely no training or experience. And that has tended to work out well so far, but that is a gamble every time. You know, 6 months into it, you might find out that you hired a not good legal assistant and you're starting the process over.
right.
again. So retention of these employees is my biggest concern. And I will tell you, I did a little bit of homework. I went around the district, the Fourth Judicial District, which is Anderson, Coffee, Osage, and Franklin County. These legal assistants are the lowest paid in a prosecutor's office in the Fourth Judicial District by a considerable margin. I cited an example in the written materials that I provided. Anderson County, which has a significantly lower caseload than we do, I think is fairly comparable county as far as money, as far as funds. And they've got a legal assistant making almost $20 an hour. We have a legal assistant with 16 plus years experience who is making less than what entry level legal assistants make around the jurisdiction.
The private sector, he's accurate as far as that's concerned.
Right.
I mean, the private sector, you can't get anybody with us.
Right, and I spoke with some private lawyers.
Right.
Right. I spoke with some private lawyers too, with private firms, smaller private firms around, a lot like Pat's firm. And the going rate for people with 10 plus years of experience in the legal assistant field is anywhere from $18 to $22 an hour. And I will tell you that while these are significant raises for the gals in the office, they are still at the very low end of salaries. So.
My concern is any new employee you hire, they have to learn a foreign language. Your job is different, you know, than the clerk's office or the registered deeds office. So you have terminologies and things like that.
It is, and I rely on these legal assistants in my office to draft many of the pleadings that we have.
Right,
They understand timelines, which can gravely affect criminal cases if you don't meet them. And that is my main concern. Right now, we have been able to weather this sort of increased workload with the coronavirus pandemic
Right.
and all of the different things. But we've only been able to do that because we have seasoned legal assistants and employees in the office. So.
my concern is more the specialized training.
Right.
And I understand, you know, but going from on-the-job training to a specialized, if there was some junior college class you could take that would make you a legal assistant.
You
I can
can go through those hoops and you can become a paralegal, which is essentially what my legal assistants are.
Right,
They have just been trained by this office as opposed to,
okay.
These salaries are gonna all be revisited right at the first of the year when
Yes,
Jack does, and the county attorney is covered by Lincoln County. He could theoretically raise all these on his own, and there ain't a damn thing commissioners could do about it, except take him to court. And a county attorney and a sheriff has never lost a Lincoln County case in Kansas, I will say that.
yeah,
So I'll just throw that out there too.
and I'm aware of that.
And Jack has always
That is
been
not the
very
process I
good
want.
and is not, and so has
Right.
all of our sheriffs in the past, has always been very good on not pushing that and of working with commissioners. And I personally think it works much better when all the offices can work together and come
Right.
to some compromise. But Gaylord and I are both extremely lame ducks, as I'm sure you're aware of. And so, I have no doubt that it's deserved and needed on the raise, especially for comparing them to their peers and even in the other counties. And that's long been, I can't argue with him.
was any of this addressed in the budget that we?
It was not, and quite frankly, so I was appointed to this position and just ran for reelection in November and was reelected. And I wanted to wait to address this until I was sure I was going to be reelected, was gonna serve another 4 years. And then I was going to take on this challenge of trying to get get that in place. I did ask you guys a
He
couple
did.
years ago.
Yes.
Or a year or two
Well,
ago.
He did
Yeah.
ask, like they all ask,
You're-
at budget time.
Yes,
And one of the things, understanding that this was not done before the budget, our diversion fund is doing very well at the moment. And so I could probably use some of those funds to offset some of the increase until it is discussed in a budget type setting.
that would be a Scott Lloyd question to be sure.
It, it can be done,
You're, yes,
I
and I
have
understand.
checked on that and it can be
Yes.
done.
and there's other counties that do
Right.
that.
So-
And I don't wanna do it long-term in the
Right.
sense of the
Years and
salaries
years.
coming out years and years.
Yeah.
But as a stopgap measure, I think that is something that we could accomplish, so
So you would be willing to pledge that
I would be,
for the year,
right,
for the year of 21?
correct. So, we've done a lot of good things with our diversion.
You
fund.
sure
Oh, absolutely.
You and your
Yeah.
predecessors all have done,
And
and I salute
honestly,
you.
one of the purchases of the digiticket is going to likely increase the ability to use those diversion funds to help other departments within the county as well, so.
Well, you've done a lot of good sheriff's department stuff over the years too, and you and your predecessor both, so.
Have you put any numbers to the amount that you would be able to assist in that?
I have kind of calculated that out, and if necessary, everything that's asked for in that could be covered from the diversion, so it doesn't
Well, let's take a look at this.
really hit. I'm obviously not an accountant, but my rudimentary math, we can't cover that from the diversion fund.
Yeah.
I'd like to look at this.
Yes, we'll, let us look it over.
Sure.
But, you know,
If you guys have any questions, I'm available
Yes.
anytime, so,
well, we appreciate what you've been doing for us, so,
thank you.
Yes,
and,
thank you, Jack, for all you've done.
yes.
I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys, and you all have a Merry Christmas.
Same to
Yeah,
you.
you too.
Merry Christmas.
Did you all get this from the Historical Society?
Yes.
Yeah.
We need to put her on the agenda for next week, or,
Okay, did she give a number?
Here you go.
yes.
Here,
Your number. Oh,
here you go.
Did she want that today, or was she?
well, she
She
wanted
asked to be on
the agenda, so
to present
that
her
would about
thing,
have
which
to put it,
Okay.
She's done it forever, and,
Right.
the lady she's asking to have replace her has, been doing it for a long, been doing it, so.
Right.
I don't have a problem with either one of them.
right, so,
I'll call and get her on next week.
yeah.
Is this a good time to have an executive session? You got
Yes.
Anything else?
Not really.
Okay.
How long?
I move that we go to executive session for 10 minutes for attorney-client matter.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You have the official time,
Right now, 9:16.
9:16, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Back in session, no action be taken.
excitement your way?
Oh, it's, Christmas is coming, right?
Yeah.
Glenn said the phone was ringing off the hook and, you know, the weather's decent, so.
Yeah,
The weather
Everybody's
is
out working. It's, kinda doesn't feel like Christmas.
yeah, at least we're not Meade or the Northeast.
Yeah,
They both got hammered pretty hard.
yeah. And I guess the eastern part of the country too is.
Yeah, that's what I said, clear Northeast is pretty tough, so.
Well, I had Kenny come down, I think he's got some, wanna visit more about the, road project up there at Burlingame.
Okay,
We got 2 or 3 different things here. I know on the invitation for bids, there was the last sentence on that could, pertain to your decision on a contractor.
The first page is out of the spec book that we split, and, generally, you know, anybody that's bidding is, we check to make sure they're pre-qualified for the work with KDOT and NPR, then we recommend low bid. Now, we have this sentence in there, last sentence in there that basically says that the Board of Commissioners reserves the right to reject any and all proposals waived any or all technicalities. And we put that in there to try to give you maximum flexibility. I'm not an attorney, so I'm an engineer.
okay,
But, so you can have your attorney look at that, so that's one thing. The second sheet is from a different county, which I blacked out, where they add a phrase to their contracts. You can see the one I highlighted there at the end. It basically says that they give preference to local bidders within 5%, not to exceed 10,000. So that's something that you might want to look at in future contracts. Obviously, this would have to be with 100% county money only. If there's anything to do with KDOT or what.
Yeah, you can't do that when it's a KDOT anything.
right.
So, you know, from an engineering perspective, we look at the low bid, we recommend you take the low bid. There's, you know, maybe economic considerations, other considerations that you guys have to take into account. And it's
Right.
entirely up to you to make that decision.
Well, at this point, till we hear from our auditor and get finalized how we would possibly fund this whole thing, you know, we're not going to make a decision on accepting.
The bids are all good for 40 days or 30, what was it?
I think it says they have to dig through the contract and see.
But it's, we got a few weeks here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would sure hold off till
Right.
you get more information
Right.
from the auditor on the financing.
The other thing is you want to make sure you have all the right of way acquired before you award the contract.
Right.
I think we still got one more property.
We've got one more property we're still working with. They're still negotiating fence is a big issue. Discrepancies between the appraisal, valuation of the fence and what the fence contractor has proposed to the landowner. So, we're still in negotiations there.
Okay,
We have the settlement we've made on the opposite side of the roadway. Of course, neighbors talk to neighbors.
Oh, yes.
And, everything, but we basically based that off of what Sean, and I know here we are trying to pair off of another county, but what in Shawnee County pays their right-of-way acquisitions on fencing by far is different than what the appraisers have allowed. So I think we're probably gonna still probably have to go back into a different mode on that fencing, I believe. Cause I don't think they'll ever come to terms myself. I think there's too many ravines in that, section that we have yet to acquire.
Okay,
You have, at least 3 to 4 water gaps. You have maybe more straighter line of fence, but still you've got water gaps, which, yeah, requires a lot more money to build and upkeep and everything else, so. That's probably gonna be the big holdup,
okay,
but, you know, we're still, I guess, we got the side angle where they could plainly see and see where they're at, finished up. That is all done now, so they shouldn't be a hold up there.
okay,
But, as far as everything on the east side, that is all, no money has been, but there has been an agreement,
okay.
so.
This statement on the second page here of the county reserves the right to give preference to local bidders whose price is within 5% or not to exceed 10,000, is that gonna catch this?
That doesn't
another
cover
cat.
it, that's just an
Yeah.
example for
I
that.
understand that, but I
It
was
would catch it,
curious.
it would catch it.
It would have if it had been in there.
Okay.
probably.
All right,
Right,
Which you can just do it on your own, that
Yeah, I
first sentence on the
Right.
first page
Just
covers you
curious.
on that.
I didn't recall what the bid, how far the bid was.
$9,000, something
Right.
like that.
About 1%, a little over 1%.
Okay,
So we covered either way on the percent and the
Right.
10.
And,
It's under
and
10.
that example was just a number that
Yeah, they
those
take that.
commissioners picked, you guys.
right, yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, that should be based on the engineer's estimate of what the project's gonna be. You know, if,
Right, yeah. it could be. Well, I think these particular commissioners are like, well, the county doesn't wanna fund more than a certain dollar amount above.
well, okay,
You know, I think.
I
that's
guess you
where
could
they-
do it that way
That's
too,
that's why they
Right.
have both in there.
yeah.
but,
And like Glenn said, you guys don't have, there's not too many jobs that's county only.
right,
but-
I think that's probably why the county's never done more of that, is because the KDOT thing and all those other, if you're using any outside money, they don't allow you to do
Right.
that ever, so.
It can have a dampening effect on how many bids you get. People think, well, they're just gonna give it to the local.
Yeah.
anyway.
Right.
But like I said, 95% of 90, probably more than that, of the projects we've ever done in Osage County, you couldn't do it legally
Right,
on
right.
right.
because of the KDOT requirements. And we've always gone for as much outside money as we could get on all of those things. And
The old 80-20 monies is all dried up and gone away.
yeah,
will it ever return?
We need something from the federal level. There's been a lot of infighting at the federal level for a new highway bill for a long time.
Right.
Been playing politics or whatever, but at some point, I think they're gonna come up with a new highway bill out of Washington, and then hopefully some will trickle down to Osage County. I mean, it needs to happen, because bridge issues all across the state are bad.
Right,
oh, as good as we've done too, and with our last bridge bond and stuff, we've built a lot of bridges, a lot of counties haven't, but we're still behind. We've still got a lot of bridges to go.
Well, there are some counties out there we work with that have over 100
Wow.
wooden bridges.
Yes.
100 wooden bridges. It's terrible. And every year there are people going through them,
Yeah.
and they're
Right.
closing 3 or 4, and it's just a disaster.
Well, I'm glad we're in better shape than that. The way you get in that shape is you quit building stuff.
Right.
And you gotta keep pushing on it and keep going after projects and money to do it with, so.
Anything
We'll
else?
let you know, or
Okay.
they'll let you
yeah,
know.
yeah, well, we hope to know fairly soon, but,
Okay.
you know, I could It'd probably be after the first of the year still before we,
Well, you better watch your clock on your bids, but yeah,
well, I know that,
you,
so.
but yeah, I'm sure it will be.
By the time,
Christmas screws up
If
all
we
the
have to do
people's-
any
everything
special
they're
funding,
looking forward to
yes.
doing too.
And I suppose that if you had a time crunch that you could visit with the people that submitted the bid and they might say, yeah, that, we'll carry it longer than.
Yeah.
right,
But you get too far out.
Well,
Yeah, you've
they're
got,
bidding, well, they're bidding KDOT stuff. Every month KDOT has a
Well-
Right.
wedding and they gotta fill up the hopper.
worst thing of it is, we got a lot of utilities involved
Yeah.
there too. You've got,
Water district,
water on the east side, you've got power on the west side, you got phone on the west side. So, in order to keep them abreast of how the progress, why, it takes a while.
How long is it gonna take for you right away?
Well, I'm a hope, well, of course, now you got holidays involved, but
Cause without the right of way, you can't do anything, right?
Right. Condemnation,
There was one you forgot to
do
put on.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they moved it to
That's
this
slow
place.
too.
well, they never called me.
The fencing is a big thing. He's pretty much on board on the land appraisal. It's the fencing.
It's always something.
okay.
Thanks a lot, Kenny.
Yeah, thank you for coming down.
I think, and on the bridge, going over the bridge project, Kenny and I have talked about that. We may wait until, next year to go over the booklet and everything on the bridges.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
So-
on all the,
all the county bridges, yeah,
you need to wait.
Yeah,
yeah, that's,
so we'll probably hold that off until January.
okay,
So, but we do have all the books and everything, and we're all up to date on that, but.
Okay.
We decided just to hold off on that until January.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
okay, thank you.
Good seeing you.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, same to you.
Yeah, we got, several things here going on here this week, and it's a short week and good weather, and, you got a, culvert we're trying to get put in down here that's on our connecting link here in Linden, and trying to get that project. Got a couple of bridge approaches that the asphalt contractors come in this morning. He wanted to do it today while it's warm.
Mm-hmm.
So, and those are mill and then overlay just on that approaches, so. Try to get that all taken care of today. I did, it was actually a past employee of ours who now works for KDHE, has put a bug in KDHE's, member who's in charge of the, CD landfill.
Okay,
So hopefully we talked to him Friday, he come by where we was, sawing out the, joints for this culvert project and visited with us, but he did forward a email to her, so
Okay.
hopefully she'll go ahead and get moving on this.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think so.
So hopefully, he knows the, urgency of it, so.
Okay.
He don't really have anything to say about it, but just hoping that maybe it could influence her to move on.
yeah, I know a couple people up there too, I'll contact him and see if we can,
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's a shame, it's just sitting there waiting.
Yeah, well.
Neither, but,
Nice big hole.
yeah, yeah.
You seen it?
I snuck in there one day and looked at it.
The, far as the other things going on, why, Yeah, the mowers, I think I mentioned that here a couple weeks ago, the mowers are done, and we're side trimming brush right now. Getting that all cleaned up. Still got one employee still quarantined, so that kind of puts us down a little bit, but we are kind of getting everybody kind of halfway back from that. There for a while, we had 4 or 5 of them, but we are down to 1, and he's up end of this week, so he ought to be back next week. Outside of that, I guess I don't really have anything.
Great.
I don't have any other information on the road closing thing to pass on.
Yeah. Those are hard to.
What time are you got the department head meeting? What time is it?
11:30, it looks like.
11:30?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I gotta go check in on the asphalt crew,
Okay,
and I'll probably try to get back for that. Yeah, they want, a contractor wanted me to come down and check in and see if that's far enough distance, because they're not able to start till it gets 50 degrees, but
right.
it's about close to that.
It's gonna get there.
I'll try to make it back up here for that.
Okay,
Anyhow, okay.
okay, thank you much.
Talk to you later. If I don't make it back, why?
Yep,
have a
we
good
understand.
Christmas.
Hey,
Thank you,
the
Dan.
ambulance
Hard
people are
to
here
tell
to give
with
their
me,
report
but
that they
I should
canceled
make
the
it
one
back
week and
Right.
we forgot to get them back on here.
Okay.
They're here. So just do it.
Okay. Ambulance people.
Ambulance people. Well, I've been called worse.
Yeah.
It's good to see you guys.
Hey,
Let you guys take a tour.
Okay,
How you guys doing?
just fine, how are you?
great.
They see me all the time. They
Yeah.
don't see you guys.
How's it
Gentlemen
going?
doing? Everybody doing okay?
Yep.
We just wanted to pop in and say hi, give you a couple just brief updates, didn't have anything big.
Okay,
Actually, like Con to kick it off with, he's kind of our, COVID expert. He won't claim that, but he's our COVID expert. He's done, a lot of stuff with like at the state level and everything with our services and just has done a ton. He deserves a pat on the back, but he wants to give you guys an update on stuff.
When I was here last Friday, a month ago, I told you the numbers were trending up, and that was the magic word apparently, because later that day it lit up. And we've been at this for 10 months now, give or take, and in the last 4 weeks, we ran 50% of our entire total that we had in 10 months. So it's been steady. We kind of hit a plateau and actually are starting to trend down on our COVID responses. But unfortunately, if Osage County holds true to what we've seen happen in our other jurisdictions, that means the fatality rate will go up this week. And the holidays, of course, that makes it even doubly worse. But hopefully we can dodge that bullet. Right now, KDHE has us listed at 10. So hopefully it doesn't skyrocket from there in the coming weeks. In our other counties, we've seen the death toll increase dramatically over a 3-week period, which they were seeing double-digit deaths every week. So far, Osage County's done much better than the other places that we operate as far as total new case counts and those types of things. A couple of things we're working on. KDHE funneled some money through a variety of labs to help us get started on saliva testing for responders. We just started a beta test of that last week, so hopefully If all goes like KDHE says, we should have those results back today, and we can work out any bugs and see what worked and what didn't work to try to make the process more efficient. So we're headed down that pathway, but we don't know how long KDHE is going to keep that process open. It may stop at the end of the year, it may be able to be continued. You know, everything every day is a gradual change from feds and state, and so we just try to roll with the punches and do the best we can for our patients and try to keep our crews safe. We're still doing masks. Every crew member gets a mask for every call. So we're still doing good on PPE supplies through our own purchasing and some work with Bryce. So vaccinations is the next big thing. If an employee wants vaccinated, there's not a lot that KDHE has released about that yet, unfortunately. Mostly because of security, but I do know it's happening in some of the other jurisdictions we operate, and we expect it to start soon. And so hopefully that can funnel, because that is not only EMS, but that becomes the nurses in the nursing homes and the residents and those types of things. As you know, some of the nursing homes have been hit horribly bad. Some have dodged it so far, and hopefully they can continue that process. So that's just kind of where things are at. But you know, overall, we're down a couple hundred calls compared to a year ago, and that results mostly from the shutdown earlier in the spring when nobody was calling an ambulance. Nobody was going to the hospital. The flip side is we're seeing some very sick people, and not just from COVID, but other infections, other illnesses, strokes, heart attacks, those types of things.
So when you transport now, are you able to get them either to the place that they want to go or to the appropriate level of care facility?
So far.
So far.
So far.
But you're having to call around some to
On
to
occasion,
prearrange.
yeah, the uploading that Stormont and KU St. Francis did in Topeka here in the last few weeks has helped a lot. Those hospitals are not going on diversion as much as they were a month ago. But that's not to say that as things change later this afternoon or next
Right,
week,
sure.
you know, hospital beds are a premium. You know, our transfer division that operates up north gets a lot of requests from a variety of places across the state, not just northeast Kansas, to do transfers because they're having to ship hours beyond their normal destination pattern. So it's, the hospitals are pushing capacity every day. So
But if you need a heart stent, for example, there are certain places you need to go.
right.
And it's not,
And so far, so good.
okay, that's the important thing.
Right.
And plus, pretty extensive on the ambulance side, pretty extensive cleaning measures with, policies and cleaning and UV lights and a lot of things like that too, so. It's a process.
Yep. So, any other questions about it?
I don't have any.
All right.
How new is that UV light technology? Is that been around forever, or?
It's been around a while. The hospitals have done it for quite a while. I know Stormont's had it at least 4 years ago because I seen it there in operation when my dad was in the hospital a few years ago. But yeah, to the EMS world, it is a very new.
And a lot of places don't have them.
Right.
I think some of them got them, but the COVID.
We were fortunate, you know, we ordered in March when this started and we got them in mid-April or
We were
something
fairly
like that.
early on with it.
So, but yeah, to do it now, there's a tremendous, an even longer backlog in orders. And so, and the nice thing about the portable device we've had, we've been able to loan it out to, I think, gave it to the law enforcement
Oh, yeah.
community center.
We've used it here in the courthouse. a couple
Courthouse,
times,
so
different
that, yeah,
things,
it can,
and we appreciate it.
not a problem, so.
I know that several of the first responder groups within the county have also ordered them
Mhm.
for their own stations. Bryce has one.
The air handlers on all these big buildings, they've had it for 20 years, they've had UVs on their filtering system,
Oh, yeah?
you know, because it cut down on bacteria. So the technology's been around a long time. Just making it portable and
You
is,
know, there's a variety of things we've looked at, from air handling systems that you
Right.
can actually be in the ambulance at the time that the system is running to, in-vehicle mounted lights, but, you know, it's gonna add another $10,000 to
Yes.
every ambulance, so.
yes. So,
Yeah, we're actually looking at one, some plasma generators, through their air handling system of some of our units right now, testing that out, so.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
thank you.
Do you have anything to add?
Not unless they have any specific questions. for
Okay.
you.
We haven't seen you, I don't think, since we've gotten our new truck. I was gonna see if Jay wanted to talk a little bit about that.
We took delivery, I don't know if you guys, have they
They
seen
don't
that?
know, no.
Hmm.
We took delivery on a new chassis, in October. That's what Brent and I were trying to think, it was probably in October. We remounted one of our units that were in really good shape, it ended up working out well. I hear, you know, just your typical moans and groans about it's a new truck, but everything else, we've gotten the bugs worked out of it, and seems to be doing well for you guys, fingers are crossed, yeah.
Mhm.
And, we hope to be able to do that, that was the intent of buying a premium product from the beginning. That way we can remount
reuse it,
we can
yeah.
keep using it for years and
The
years
box
and years.
part,
The
yeah.
box. So, yeah, so far it's worked well.
Good.
As far as staffing goes, we've been doing really well. Throughout the pandemic crisis, where staffing can always be a problem as far as recruiting and retaining our employees. We did have a test. It was a test day. We had 2 people come down with symptoms at the same time. They were both paramedics. We had to do kind of a switcheroo on that. So it took us down a level on staffing. Both of those paramedics had to go and drive to Topeka to get that taken care of. So both of those trucks are at an AEMT level for about 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
And in 9 years that we've been here, that's the first time we've ever had to do that.
Yeah.
Let's hope that's,
So it took a pandemic to make that
That-
happen.
Exactly.
That's what I was trying to think of, so in the case of a pandemic, it may occur
Yeah.
one time. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah,
Yeah, actually, so barring pandemic, COVID stuff, staffing is really pretty good right now. But that's something we keep a watchful eye on because that can change very quickly with this type of situation, so.
has the issue in Burlingame changed with the one patient that requires multiple
So,
people?
yes, I know you and I have spoken.
Right.
Very shortly after you and I spoke about that patient, it became not a problem for a while, for a good 3 months probably.
Well, I've still heard from some first responders that they're, kind of think some of them are getting burnt out of answering the call and,
They are, so there's something that happens with volunteers. You know, they just get to the point where
yes,
they don't want to, especially when it's for a non-emergent reason. It has changed because the only time she calls now is when she is sick. So, and then of course we had a transfer back
okay.
from the hospital.
Well,
And that's
I'll
still-
still work with East Central Kansas Area Agency and see if I can get them back on it again. I think it's
We've
kinda-
tried multiple avenues with her.
right.
And what it comes down to is she just doesn't. She wants to go back to the Kansas City area, and
Well, she doesn't qualify for the other apartments, so
correct.
and that's not the appropriate building to be in.
It is not.
Absolutely not, so.
And we've had multiple conversations with her.
Okay.
What can we do to help out? It puts a little bit of strain on EMS resources only because some of the volunteers have opted out of
Right.
responding to that.
But if you have to have 2 ambulances go to get your
Sometimes
people there, then that's a
yeah,
that's a
sometimes
bad
all
deal.
for ambulances, we made a kind of a non-written mandate on my part. It requires 6 people to safely move her.
Right.
From whatever, if she's in her vehicle and has to get inside, or if she's inside and has to get outside. Either way, it requires at least 6 people to safely move her. And in addition, a special device that we have on our trucks, because of her bariatric status.
Right, okay,
Sometimes, when we don't get the first responders, the mutual aid agreements go into effect. So dispatch will call the next closest fire department. So we're seeing responders come in from Carbondale all the way over.
Right.
I'm not saying anything about the responders negatively. 2020 has taken its toll on very many people.
okay.
So
I'll follow up on it some more, see if we can get something
if you
done.
need anything direct from me, let me know.
Okay,
So, we know that there's a little bit of a changing of the guards, and we just wanted to, express our heartfelt gratitude to everybody here. I mean, the biggest thing that we have said over the years and everything is just the support that we get from you guys is tremendous, and it helps us do our job so much easier when we know that support's there, so we really appreciate it. We thank you guys for everything that you've done, so.
Well, I appreciate that myself, and I was gonna say something. The first 3 years I was a commissioner, I've handled probably 3 to 4 ambulance complaint calls a week. And since in the 9 years since then, when we've had you, I don't think I've had 3 complaints in 9 years. And one of the things I'm most pleased with what I've gotten accomplished as a commissioner is getting my part in getting you guys to come here and working with you and getting this level of care we have in the county now on ambulance. And I want to thank you all. You've all been very good to work with and have just improved the ambulance service in Osage County over the last 9 years by a magnitude of 100, if not 1,000. And I really appreciate, and I want to tell you two again, which I've told you a lot of times, what a treasure you have in Donna, and you can't pay her enough. You can't pay her enough. She's just fantastic. And if there is ever a complaint, she handles it so quickly and professionally that I just can't say enough good things about her. And I appreciate having you guys here, and I hope whenever something happens to me that it's one of you guys that hauls me off.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen.
Well,
Yeah.
not for a while.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate you all, and it's just been such a joy to having you guys here and having you to work with instead of what we had prior, which everybody knows those stories, so. But thank you very much for all you've done for us, and I hope you're here for many, many years in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That means a lot.
That does mean a
I
lot.
do want to extend my personal thanks to you guys as the boots on the ground down here. It's amazing working with you guys. I see the relationships in other counties with the county commissioners, and this is an awesome place to be the service director.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
The way you
I
conduct
appreciate
your
it.
business makes our job a lot easier.
It sure
I
does.
second what Ken said. Great to work with you guys.
I hope that relationship continues.
Yes.
Yeah, we do know that, we have two gyms sitting, we have a lot of great employees.
Yes, you do.
These two in particular have done outstanding things, so.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Is
you.
there anything that you guys need before we?
I would like to address something real quick that you said about complaints. With our new system that we have some updates through the reporting system and some of the updates. it now allows us to collect some patient information like email addresses and so forth. So we spontaneously have a random generator that sends questionnaires out to patients at email addresses that they've consented to have their email address given to us. It's not like we just find it and send it, so.
We only Facebook stalk you guys.
Just you guys, yeah. But, no, it now allows us to send out questionnaires for satisfaction of how the crew treats you personally, clinically, those types of things, so that we can head off the complaints before they ever mushroom into anything other than perhaps maybe a simple misunderstanding or a chance to re-educate. And we get a lot of positive feedback too, so.
Well, thank you all
Thank you.
again.
All right.
I'd shake all your hands.
Yeah,
We can
Yeah.
do that.
give hugs if I could, but.
Yeah.
Blessed
Thank you,
holidays
guys.
to all of
Good
you guys.
seeing you.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Yep.
Merry Christmas to all of you.
She's not here, is she? No. I wanted to introduce these two. These are my bosses. We can go out here. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
See you soon.
Mr. Garrett.
How are you today?
Very well, thank you. How are
Good.
everybody? I printed off a bunch of stuff, so.
What do we do?
Oh.
These are both mine, or?
Yeah, I'll
one of
pass
these
those
for Fred?
down if you don't mind.
Okay.
I do.
Appreciate it.
It's kind of, front page is, so budget where we are right now. I think when I was here last, we talked about the budget where we actually are and the budget where we projected. This is the projected budget that I always do for us. It shows us what we expect to spend.
So right now you're showing we've got 90,000 basically that's not spent,
Well,
Or-
well, to reallocate.
that haven't
Right.
been
That
allocated.
has not been
That's a better
allocated.
term, yes.
That's gonna plus or minus a little bit. One of the things is about that 11,202.79. That was from Carbondale. I think that's gonna come back. The
Oh, you
others-
think Carbondale's sending that much
I
back?
think they're sending that much back. It looks like everybody else is gonna come real close to spending out, but, Lyndon, I think, might send back $800, maybe. Okay, so we're finding out. I kinda said last week, Friday was the deadline. Well, we came up on Friday and some of the clerks were still scrambling a little bit, but I
Yeah.
think they were working
Oh, yeah.
diligently to get that done. And by today or tomorrow, we'll probably know. I do know that Carbondale has one quote coming in on something else that might reduce that just a little bit, just a little bit. But
Well,
it's gonna-
good.
The second page there, this is the page that is really the front page of the report that we send into the state. And that kind of shows, it's a little confusing because it's a bit of a moving target. These numbers have all changed since we sent them in. We do know that we have feedback. I spent an hour on a Zoom call with the two technical advisors with the state, and they have
Hey, Gaylord.
and they've given us the thumbs up on our latest report that we have submitted successfully. They are in agreement with our numbers, so we're good with the state so far. Now, the rest of it is, I've put in a few of the things that we've been talking about. We've got the first 3 pages or the first 2 pages are the quotes from Theo Plumbing and Heating on the 2 generators. Those were the low bids that Fred sent me. The other ones were extremely higher, so I didn't include those.
Oh, and they're a good local company, and they came in a lot lower than all the other ones, didn't they?
Significantly lower, and I'm sure the work that Fred did is gonna meet the county's
Yeah.
procurement policy and be fine.
significantly lower, the 32.5 and 16 for the health department.
Or significantly over, that's good.
So that's with this 90K. We've got to decide where we go.
So are the generators
The
already
generator-
allocated, or are they in the
generators
90 thing?
They're already allocated.
Okay.
So once we get past that, we've got a couple of people that have, you guys have asked me to reach out to childcare.
Yeah.
This, we've got a, well, let's go in order. We've got Overbrook American Legion has sent in something. Don Schultz has a request out to help build their building. The next one, and I apologize, I got them out of order, but is the higher bid for the generators.
Yeah.
The next page is sort of a child care proposal that we spoke with Reva Wallace, and their organization has identified 33 child care programs in the county that might use assistance, and they would help us get that money out to them. The question is if we would consider it an allocation to all of the child care providers in the county, how that would be, how we'd get the money to them in 9 days, basically 5 working days. It's gonna be difficult, but something to think about.
That was my problem when the lady called me, and I mean, I thought it was a good, probably overlooked part, but I think I told her, I didn't know if there was time to do it.
It would be difficult to do, to get that out. She has offered the services of her office to notify everybody.
But they gotta all get their W-9s, or whatever that form is we gotta get and all that. It's, if they would undertake it, it would be a big help, wouldn't it, for you, Rhonda?
Yeah, I mean.
Of that many of them
Contact
particularly.
numbers and all that stuff. I mean, we can mail stuff out, but the mail right now, getting it out and back is not gonna be easy.
They're gonna almost have to hand deliver all that stuff.
We're talking, yeah.
33 daycares in one daycare facility, I mean, that's a lot.
And those are the registered ones, right? Or the
Yeah, the license.
license was the part I was trying to get, the name I was trying to get to.
Identifying them, asking, making contact with them, figuring out if they'd actually accept it or need it. 5 working days, 6 working days.
Did they give you kind of an indication on what each one would have for expenses?
There's really no way to tell. I think that the only way to do
Is
it.
do a grant for X amount to each one that wants it.
We'd establish a grant program of say, whatever amount, and then split them equitably. There's no way. It's difficult thought.
Well, it's a worthy place to spend some of it, I think, because they've all had expenses on buying all the stuff to protect the kids, or this, or that. The lady made a pretty good case to me today on the phone, and,
Well, it's just childcare in itself has been decimated.
childcare in itself's been decimated, and people have lots of trouble getting childcare anymore because so many of them have either abandoned it or quit, or we want to encourage the ones that are still here doing it because it's certainly a needed service for the working people of the county.
There's a couple other things here. You want to take a look at?
Go
it?
ahead.
I want to get you all the way through. The next here is the application for John's Barber Shop that we all three spoke independently on the phone about. They were left off the second round CD list.
Yeah.
I have sent their application to the committee, and the committee has recommended a $10,000 allocation for them, and that would need your approval out of a $14,070. We're absolutely positive they're the only ones. We have.
Yeah, and that was just kind of an
Yeah.
oversight, and the committee looked over it.
Committee looked over it. It was an oversight. Rhonda sent it to me and to my assistant in my office.
Yeah.
And I overlooked it, my assistant didn't.
Yep.
So that's, and then the last one here to think about is, the county attorney's office has given us a proposal. They were contacted in the onset of the, we were making our plans and didn't have anything for us. But now it's come up that there's new stuff that they're conducting all their court hearings online, and they can really use up-to-date software. And that is the last quote. It's 26,800 for the software, and then another 31,300 for the setup. And that's a one-time cost for them.
Yeah, I think that'd be another good place to put some of it.
Yes.
Because all that stuff's going to go, and it's, more and more of that's gonna be there.
So we are close. I think we need to decide. And
So do we need a motion on the generators and to pay the one overlooked business one?
Mhm.
Do we need two motions or one for that, Rhonda?
I'd say two, but then that's just me.
I move we allocate funds to pay for the two generators as on the lowest bid, the steel plumbing and cooling.
Okay, on that, I got the generator pad from the courthouse. You didn't get that in anything else, did you?
Did not, I haven't checked today, but I did
Okay.
either way.
The health department, so it would only be $1,600 for
For
the
the
generator
pads.
pad for the courthouse,
Oh,
which wasn't in
that's
the
not
bid. But we need to approve that with the bids.
Okay, I'll amend my bid on the steels and include the pad to
Brad
quality
makes-
built.
Yeah,
And that's one standalone motion on the two generators, the pads, and paying for them out of the CARES Act money.
Thiels was gonna do the pad and everything
Up
on the
there.
health
All
department.
right,
Extra 1,600 for the health department?
No, for the
for the out
courthouse.
here.
Okay.
Here, you need a copy of it or whatever.
So there's my motion on that.
Second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then I will move, we also authorize out of the CARES Act on the economic development, the overlooked payment to the one individual of $10,000.
A motion,
That was a motion.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
So then you're thinking still, even after doing that, there's 90,000 at least.
Yeah, we just added 1,600 there,
So-
so we're down to 88. Of course, my phone went out. Anybody put their calculator to that?
And the car for the health department has been taken off, is that correct?
Oh,
Vehicle?
The vehicle for the health department is not included. So
Okay.
I don't have a price for that yet.
Okay.
37.
Yeah, I can go get the.
So there, we're getting close.
Have they got it, purchased that?
Yeah, yes, I can look at the purchase
Yeah.
order.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you, Randy.
On your front of your thing, you've got county transfers there, you've got Overbrook VFW, that's actually American Legion.
I just kind of put that as a space saver to talk about there.
I would like to see the Vassar Community Fest funded for $3,000, and then whatever we can do on the American Legion.
The Vassar one, that, they had a home for the 3,000.
Easily.
Easily.
Yeah.
So well, we better wait till around, but and that's a county thing that's never, I think we ought to just go ahead and vote, make that motion.
Well, that falls under the same
Yeah,
type of thing as the fairs.
Yes, it does.
yeah.
The Legion was gonna work with Overbrook and some of their funds. Did that come to fruition?
Number, no, you
I see
can't.
that's like 2980.
Yeah.
So there is, that's one thing, yeah, thank you for reminding me, Overbrook would have about 6,200 in there, but they think that they're gonna be able to spend that out as well. They talked about doing a utility relief program to take care of some people that are hurting there and kind of just zeroing them out and get them to start fresh start. And so they may spend that, and that was what we talked about, that
Right.
6,000 there.
Okay, so when you take the car off,
Car for 29.
Take what out?
the health department car,
Oh.
off that 90,
Yeah.
we're getting real close.
I think we're at 58,848.61, my arithmetic's.
And then you do 3,000 to the Vassar Community Center.
That puts us at 55,848.61.
Do you wanna just make that motion and go ahead and do the Vassar Community Center?
The Vassar, and I'd also like to do 8,000 for the Overbrook.
I would do them separate, but go ahead.
Separate motion.
You got clerk here, so.
Okay, so what are we gonna include in this motion? Just the Vassar?
I'd do two separate ones,
Right.
but
Okay.
it makes the motions cleaner.
Yeah. I move that we, from the CARES Act money, fund the Vassar Fun Fest $3,000.
And then do your other one.
I'll second that one. I will second that one.
I'll second it.
Okay, you second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And then I would also move that we, out of the CARES Act money, fund the request from the Overbrook American Legion, amount of 8,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
So now we're down to
47,848.61. My arithmetic is. Where's my phone? My phone guy.
Need a calculator?
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure that'll work.
First electronic calculator I saw the co-op at Overbrook bought, and I was on an advisory board. And it was a thing about that long and about
The
4
Sharp
inches wide and
calculator,
about that tall, and all it did was add and subtract and multiply and divide, and it cost $600.
yes. The Sharp calculator is the first one, and they had this goofy numbers on it.
Yeah.
You know, they, instead of making segments or whatever, you could hardly read it.
Now somebody will give you one the size of a credit card that'll do
Yeah.
more than that thing would do.
Yeah.
What was that total amount to come in on the car?
$29,888.
Is there trade-in on it, or was that?
I'll go get a copy, I'll see if I can make it darker.
It wasn't supposed to be a
But
trade.
after all that,
That's what I'm thinking too, there wasn't supposed to be a trade-in, that sounded awful.
after all that.
Well,
what was
'cause
the
I thought
number,
it was
the bottom
37.
number?
When we was looking.
48,400.
48.
What's that?
I'm gonna do that again just to make sure.
Yeah.
I don't see a trade-in on there, so.
I thought they were doing something else with the car. Or what?
What?
They didn't trade the car in?
They wasn't supposed to, yeah, cause then we'd sell it outright.
Yeah.
But that price, unless they got a different car than they originally had
Wow.
been quoted.
What were you keeping the car for?
Sell it on Purple Wave or something like that. Get more out of it. It didn't have that many miles on it, so it should,
Yeah, whatever.
it just,
What does it cost to sell on Purple Wave?
It's a percentage.
I was
assumed
that, I didn't know how much.
yeah. I've never sold, I bought off of it, but,
448.
10% when you buy it, I don't know.
48,448.
yeah,
Well, you divide that among 30-some health or childcare things, that's not a whole lot, but they won't all respond and they won't all come
Right.
back. And they won't all get stuff back in time.
Well, I think,
That'd be $1,600 a piece.
I think they need to carry
The water on it.
water
Yeah.
on this.
Yes.
get those applications in, so.
And they're gonna have to hand carry them and all that.
They're gonna have to have them back so we can have them next week.
Do you have, did you talk enough with that lady to tell her, you know, if you're gonna have to hand carry them and we got some we'd allocate toward it, but you're gonna have to do all, they're gonna have to bring and hand carry all the paperwork.
She got a lot of spring in her step. She said, you know, she'd be willing to do anything. She didn't want to overstep her boundaries and talk to you guys first, but she'd be willing to do anything to try to make it happen for these people.
I'd call her as soon as you're done here and tell her to, if that's what we decide, tell her to get collected.
Okay, well.
I don't know, is that where you wanna go with the other
Yes,
48?
Absolutely.
Oh, I think it'd be a good use of it.
I do too.
Okay, so next week, I think when we report on that, if we're somewhere by in a week, I think we should be able to have a list together. That would give you enough time?
We're here 3 days this week.
Okay.
We're here 3.5 days next week. If we have that list, like on Monday, we can get those checks ready by the 31st. It'll be tight, I mean, it'll be really tight, but we can make it work. If we could get it any sooner, and they approve something and we could get that list sooner, that would really help.
I would think that we would try to get that list by Thursday. I know that's Christmas Eve.
Yeah, we're closed.
Let's try to get it by Wednesday.
Okay,
I mean, that'll be my one task. We've got everything else wrapped up, and all we're doing is putting together numbers and calling these people. And then I'll see you next Monday.
Okay.
Make sure we did an extra $1,600 for the concrete pad. We did the health department van. We talked about the Vassar Community Fest and also the Overbrook American Legion.
And the generators.
The generators, yeah,
Right.
well, I had those already budgeted in there.
Right.
Okay.
And at their cost, I just needed to add 1,600, but I did that, so. I think we look good, everyone.
Was there a motion for the childcare?
no.
Well, we haven't spent anything yet. That's just, do you need a motion that that's where we're gonna direct it to? We haven't been or have we done?
Well, it'd probably be a good idea so that we could go ahead and get the checks cut.
Okay, well, I move we allocate the remainder as far as we know. I don't know how to put that. Do we,
So you're gonna give each one of them the same thing regardless, whether they're 5 kids or 15 kids?
well, they're all got the same
Well, I know,
license,
they're
the
licensed.
same everything.
Right,
So
but-
that's, I mean, I would say that's the only way you can do it in this short a time.
Except the center, the daycare center, which I think has multiple, there's that one in Carbondale, I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, the center, that you're right about that.
Well, we can decide on allocations later. Let's just
Earmark it.
earmark, say
A
that,
dollar amount, total dollar
So
amount.
next Monday, I'm just trying to plan ahead so we get our stuff done. Next Monday, you're gonna tell us the amount. Is that correct?
Yeah,
And
we'll
cut those
decide.
checks
we'll see how
between
many have
Monday
applied and got all their
Thursday.
paperwork back and decide how you're
It's
gonna
good for
split it up.
you, then I think we can do that.
Yeah.
can make
We
it
need
work.
to keep that pretty flexible though, because we only had 3 applications come in this next week.
Yeah,
We didn't-
you don't wanna
We're not gonna
divide,
spend
you're
the
not
whole
gonna give
thing
them all
on
that.
3, so.
No, I don't know that we wanna allocate anything. You just wanna say we're moving forward, that's our next
Right.
and last known earmark project. So I don't know how you make a
You're not
motion
gonna
on
give me
that.
amounts until next week.
Right.
I know,
Okay,
yeah,
I'm
so
with
we
you.
don't need a motion on that.
We'll see you next Monday then.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You put a lot of miles on.
I drive about 65,000 a year.
But
I'm on the road every day. It's my favorite thing to do is drive out there on the roads in Kansas. I love it.
I loved it too when I used to do that.
Music or?
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
You can do a lot
Thank
of
you. See you
creative
next
thinking
week.
while you're driving.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. You.
Same to you. Okay.
So next week, I potentially will not be here on Monday, but Melinda will, she'll know what's going on and we'll be ready to do whatever you decide to do with the daycare.
Great.
Okay.
what are you talking about at, department head, anything specific?
No, not really. Get your year-end numbers in.
Yeah, but I'm gonna ask
That's
for
the main
those
thing.
by 9 AM on the 30th.
Okay, yeah.
I could try to move up the department head meeting, but Glenn said he wouldn't be available earlier.
Well,
Yeah, I'm going to, my point being, since I have other things
yep,
that I
You better
can't
go
miss, I'm
take care
going
of
to
that.
let you guys handle the department head.
we will do it.
Let's see what's in here. All the bad stuff we're not supposed to
Oh,
eat.
my
I thought
gosh.
there was a pizza in there.
That's what they always do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take these to Melinda real quick if you need me to yell.
You won't leave without sticking your finger in
I
it,
ain't
I
gonna
know.
leave without eating a piece of that at least.
Yeah.
That's that good Hazel Hill stuff.
They shut down for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think a lot of those places have had to.
Well, they had COVID in their,
It's a damn shame, but
Yeah.
like everything else.
that's a nice place to go.
Well, I'm gonna take the pick out of it and pass it to you guys.
Okay.
I always used to do that to my sisters.
Yeah. You know what shape of Russell Stover's to get.
Better.
Well, you always poked a hole in the bottom, Gaylord, and
Yeah.
then hope nobody
Yeah.
else saw that hole in the bottom.
My father-in-law, he wasn't looking at
around.
Russell Stover's,
Come there.
he'd have to poke his thumb through every one of them, so.
Yeah.
Pass one back there to
All
the,
right, see you next week.
so we get a favorable
Good luck on
newspaper
your
report.
Yeah.
Bribery still works, sometimes.
Here comes your bribery.
You need to declare us in recess till 11:30 or?
Yeah,
Coming back to you, Pat. It didn't work, she didn't take anything.
oh,
Good.
no, she just set the price. Takes more than chocolate.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
They brought me some chocolate from some big old piece of brownie stuff, but man, it was good, chunks of stuff in it. For my birthday, I was down in May.
mm-hmm,
I tried to eat it all, but I couldn't.
yeah,
Not from lack of effort.
yeah. Well, we're recessed till 11:30.
What's the department head deal, this annual meeting?
Yeah. Nothing. What's going on? Most of them will say nothing.
Yeah.
Should I pause the recording?
Yes.
Well,
I'm
I like these warm winter days to get some stuff done. Well, that's important.
I can't believe it.
Okay, I guess we'll resume our meeting. We are wrapping up the CARES money pretty well. We'll have a few more things yet to do Monday. But we've got to do several improvements within the county. We will be putting a new generator in, so you won't have an excuse to say the power's out from now on and want to go home. So it will be installed on the side of the building. We're gonna build a new sidewalk from the south around to the west door, so people will have access to the handicap entrance. And we're getting the drop boxes put in out here for the different departments, so. And so, right now, things are looking pretty well. And like I said, we've made a big improvement in the senior center over in Osage, put in new heating and air conditioning, and we've sealed up all the holes so the coons can't get in the ceiling. And, so our utility bill should go down considerably there, cause there was kind of a cobbled up system in that building, so. And I think we did a very good job of providing some assistance to the small businesses throughout the county. I don't know what the exact total is right now, how many we helped, but it was 130 or 40 probably. So. With that, Becky, what's going on in development?
Very, very busy,
Okay,
very busy. Lots of, conditional use permits have been applied for in the last couple of days, so
okay.
hopefully that'll go through.
Mm-hmm. Seems like the housing market's picked up a little bit around the county.
Building permits have not stopped. I mean, like I said, we've doubled from last year and lots of new houses.
That's very good.
Yeah.
So. And you have the rock quarry permit
I
or
have
scheduled?
yes, that will be January 12th up at the Willows Bend up in Carbondale. And then we'll have another meeting that month, the regular meeting, where we have 2 conditional use permits and 3 zoning,
Right,
so,
okay.
all night.
Lexi, how's it going in your department?
Busy.
Good.
Very busy, yeah, it's a good thing. I don't know if you've seen our signs this year, we're accepting cash payments and payment under protest only in our offices, trying to keep the foot traffic down. We have a drop box available right inside the door. We can't have one out in the hallway, obviously, we have really no way to bolt it down. But then we also have the one that we put up here in the parking lot, I don't know if you've seen it.
Right,
And people have been using it as well. We've been able to keep up extremely well on those drop-off payments and all the mail and receipts. Actually, I think that we will finish earlier than we normally do, because without the walk-in, walk-ins, they just take a little more time, and we're just flying through everything that's been mailed into us, so. And motor vehicle, they're still doing appointments. I don't know for sure what our timeline is on that. With heavy trucks, starting after the first of the year, it's a little busier during that time, so just depending on how things are, we'll have to adjust accordingly, but we'll still keep doing what we're doing, so.
okay. Register of deeds.
We've been really busy, when I'm busy, busy. And, it was Friday, we were running, just totally running.
Very good.
Think of anything else, just busy.
Is this just pent-up demand from over the summer, or is this, do you think it's kind of new business coming in?
I think it's from that low interest of,
Yeah.
Right,
yeah, people are just taking advantage of that low interest. It's crazy, cause it's not, we've never had a lull at all.
No, no. Not all
It seems like when COVID hit, the business came 100% up.
well, I think people are looking and moving from other states into the Middle West, so maybe it'll be a boon for us too. So, Stephanie, how's public transportation doing?
Public transportation is, as usual, it cycles, so this week we're warm, last week we were cold. And when it's cold and rainy, people tend to cancel. This week we're moving hot and heavy. We've had a lot of, I think everybody and their neighbor phone call types looking to get out of the work world, stay home. A lot of home-based businesses right now that, excuse me, partnering hand in hand with Kansas Small Business Development Center to get those people into building their business plans. So, it's just, as usual, busy, and our phone never stops ringing, ever, from one agency to another.
Yeah, I think the people learned how to work from home, a lot of things, and so while they're there, well, I can do this, and they start their own business, you know, and so.
And I've heard the neatest ideas, and I'm thinking, oh, I could do that. Oh, Wendy, you could do that.
Yeah.
And so some really innovative ideas that are coming, and I hope they all come to fruition.
Okay. Clark.
We'll be over today to start on the sidewalk and the path. Brad called me and said, he's sending these guys over and they're gonna start on it today. I'm just waiting on Nathan, so I know exactly where to
Right.
set this pad. And make it easy for him when he goes to hook everything up, so.
Did we get the wiring for the security
Yeah.
done?
Mullins got the bid,
Right.
but no,
He hasn't done that yet, though.
not yet.
Okay.
Before
Everything.
it starts, I gotta get with Sonny, cause Sonny's gonna have to kinda tell him where to put something, so. I don't know, I haven't talked to Chris about it, Sheriff, so I don't know when they're gonna get started. That's about it.
How we doing on light upgrades?
We're gonna start next month, my cousin and I, we're gonna start at Rhonda's, get all the second floor done. We're just gonna wait until the holidays are over with.
Right.
We'll have to come in, we'll do it on Saturdays. That way ain't nobody here. Makes it a lot easier to get everything installed.
Do we have any more doors on the first or second floor that need to be painted?
We got Lexi's, and then we got the pressure door.
Okay.
It's only two doors, second and first. And then you got her upstairs, which I'll let you guys deal with her on that.
Okay.
I've already tried that.
Well,
I'm
let's,
afraid that I might say something to upset her a little bit.
oh, well,
But it won't be the first time I get it.
well, let's get these doors painted up to this while we can. Yeah, I think he's available now to get them done, so. Might be, over the holidays, might be a good time to get a few of them done.
Well, maybe I could get them off Wednesday. Take them out there Wednesday morning to him.
Right. That way they'd be ready to go back Monday morning.
Right.
Easy enough, so. Okay. Mr. Tyson, what's new and exciting in Public Works?
Oh, nothing really. Good weather, so get a lot of the extra things that we ordinarily wouldn't be doing outside of. It saves a lot of money on salt and sand, nice weather like this.
Right.
I guess I'm just thinking out loud, if you've got someone coming with this concrete, do we wanna try to do an additional area for drop boxes out here? You talk about sidewalk and everything, be a good time just to add in a little more concrete. Do that at the same time. I just don't know how many people want a drop box out here. That's what we got Lexi's and I got Sean, and she just got one coming in Friday. I mean, we still have the setup for your box. You thinking of any?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe, because I got something in Burridge the other day.
We just need to know how many boxes we need, that way we know how much concrete.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be a good time. rather
Yes,
than-
I'd pour enough to put several boxes in there.
We can get it dug out or something so that the contractor wouldn't have to do that, but probably had it ready for
Right.
concrete if they're doing sidewalks. So we were thinking at one time about 4 foot, but if Linda's thinking about one, where we have Lexi's is also where Rhonda's was, so we kind of really need to have provision for another one.
So if we just pour a strip along that,
That's what we're
line right-
thinking, that grass line there along the curb,
right,
just go out 3 foot or
right,
or whatever distance and just move it to the west.
right, and that way you can bolt them all down eventually.
Of course, every box seems to be different that we're getting in.
Right.
But, if you wanna progress that way, I could probably try to get that dug out before the contractor gets started pouring anyhow.
I would think that's the way to go, cause,
Cause if you gotta bid with the contractor, he's probably not gonna want to, do the digging and
Right.
whatnot, but, we could have that part of it done. And if we knew when he was gonna have the concrete, we could even finish the concrete off.
right, yes, I'd go that way. Pour that whole strip along there and
Okay,
so we can,
make enough provision for at least 3, if not 4.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. Outside of that, no, nothing real exciting on that part.
okay.
Your mowing job looks nice, that your people did.
Great, good.
I've received several compliments to pass on.
They like the, sight distance on the deer,
Yeah.
Yes,
and it also helps on snow. You get snow blowing off the roadways and everything without any grass along the edge.
Place to go with it.
Yep.
so. You have anything to say, Gaylord?
No, but I will say my time's getting short, but I've enjoyed working with each one of you. Limited times that we've had to work together, but you've all been very cooperative and I've made it good. Thank you.
Well, this has probably been the most challenging year we've had, so.
Yeah.
You have anything, Rhonda, that you need to?
Encumbrances will be due on the 30th at 9 AM. So if you can have them in by then, that would be great. That just gives me a little extra time before the commissioners meet on the 31st.
You have anything, Pat?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Bailey, even though you're not officially here yet, you will be for long, so.
I don't have any question. I'm looking forward to working with everybody.
Oh, well, we,
I don't, what department heads are not here today? The appraiser and
The Jackie, the appraiser,
the sheriff was busy.
yeah, the sheriff.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's some things going on.
Yeah, so,
And Jack isn't here.
and,
I think he
yeah,
had court.
so, so,
And Tammy isn't here from the senior center.
yeah, so. Well, everybody have a safe and good holiday, and, yeah, be, like I said, and we'll try and get everything wrapped up here at the end of next week, and be ready to start off a new year, so. I move we adjourn.
Oh, wait a minute, we got
Oh.
CARES Act checks, sorry.
Okay, oh, okay, yeah, we gotta do,
You should have
died for
had,
lack of a second? Yeah.
you should have had a, you should have a sheet that it's just one page, we were being cheap. So
Yeah.
you all should have one that shows
Okay,
the checks we're
alright.
doing,
You
there's
need-
all four.
We need a
I
motion
need a
to approve these.
those checks,
What happened to the rest of them?
That's all we did today, we just have the four.
Okay.
And actually Melinda thought you'd just sign those four, she didn't go grab your thing, so.
Oh, that's,
So the
yeah.
motion needs to be to approve these
The
transfers.
The CARES Act checks.
Okay. I move that we approve these list of CARES Act funding and all of us sign it.
And I'll second. All in favor? Aye.
Okay, and
Becky, you had
I'll
something?
have you guys,
Oh, okay.
I'll have you guys, yeah, sign one of them.
Are you guys done? Got enough?
Anything else?
Yep, sorry.
There's in your signature there,
Okay,
Fred. Now can I move to adjourn?
yes,
All right. I move we adjourn.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're adjourned.
Thank you, gentlemen. For waiting on me.